when that second plane hit, I feel like, 2,000 plus kids were watching it.
Well, I think everyone, the whole world was watching it, weren't they?
Pretty much. But you could hear gasps and screams from kids and teachers and Hi, village.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to our table. Today, we have all kinds of foods from New York. Now, aside from this over here, this is just an added bonus. But we have Brothers Pizza. Brothers was, they're four brothers who immigrated to New York City and from there began making pizzas. And now they're in Houston. And they have a pizza place with all kinds of stuff. Everything came from them except for the hot dog. The hot dog came from James, Coney Island, and we got a New York hot dog.
And then it has mustard and sauerkraut.
A New York dog from James, Coney Island. And then as a sauce, Sierra has her favorites.
My boss's.
Boss's Pizza is in Abilene. And she fell in love with their ranch, and you can get it at HEB's, but
there's certain ones.
So far we've only found it at the HEB in Abilene.
So this is their signature pizza. It has a little bit of everything on
Yes,
it.
She's not happy about the mushrooms, but honestly, there's not that much mushrooms.
But I'm gonna eat it for you guys, so.
Yeah, it's what they're famous for. This pizza right here. And
I've had their pizza before. It's really good. There's one that was close by my high school. And I actually went to high school and middle school with one of the kids.
Give us a thumbs up for Lucky. He's dying. He's sniffing everything. He's dying to get a chomp.
Okay,
let's dig in. Do you want me to take off the mushroom?
No, just give it to me.
Okay, here you go. Here's a slice for Sierra.
I love all their pizza besides this one. It has like
she
everything
just doesn't
I don't like on it.
Mushrooms.
Well, and it has like onions and bell peppers and.
I know it just has bell peppers. Oh, it does have onions too.
Yep.
Look, you guys. Oh, did y'all want a bite? Okay, let's say our prayers real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for this entire community. Thank you for all the people that we've met. Please bless them. Bless us to nourishment of our bodies. Please bless all the men and women who serve our country every day and be with those who lost loved ones during 9/11. Amen. All right. Here we go. That's pepperoni. All right, here we go. It has green olives, beef sausage, Canadian bacon, and mushrooms. Super good. And I typically don't like sausage or Canadian bacon or green olives. I love black olives. But it is really good, y'all. Try a little calamari.
For me not liking anything on this pizza besides the pepperoni and cheese, it's still pretty good because it's Brothers, but it's not. I would get anything else besides this. But it's still good because it's Brothers.
So,
once you take everything off, I like it better.
Part of the reason that we wanted to get New York specific foods is because today commemorates the anniversary of 9/11. So good. And we talk about 9/11 a bit because she doesn't really remember. And I saw...
I was like 1 at the time.
I was watching something recently, and they said that a whole generation of individuals are now growing up and don't remember 9/11. And we can't forget.
Or I don't think people can forget. They just don't know. Like,
true. And I know
but I don't think anybody could ever forget what happened.
But babe, even like the Holocaust, people are still to this day saying that it didn't happen, which is crazy.
That's just stupid.
And to this day, we still have Nazis.
Oh yeah.
We have white supremacists.
KKK.
We have
are peaceful people.
And she's saying that jokingly.
Sorry.
Or not jokingly, but with sarcasm. And we have white supremacists who are in our government. There's been governors and others. So we have to keep not just the memory alive, but we have to remember so that we don't fall prey to this again. With the Taliban just recently bombing a place and claiming it, and with the president wanting to bring the Taliban to the United States to discuss ending all of this. I'm for all of that. But to bring them to our land.
Never that. Camp David.
To Camp David. To have the Taliban get on American airplanes is just crazy to me. And I just feel like we need to keep sharing the story, because history, if we don't learn from our history, we're destined to repeat it, and we forget. Pretty soon, you know, all of the Holocaust survivors, they're getting older and they're passing away. And
one of our close, well, he wasn't close, but we knew him for a couple of years. He passed away.
He passed away. And so their stories, we have to keep them alive and their message alive through telling of the stories. So I'm going to share with you guys my experience. I remember it was just a regular day, it seemed like. When I got to my school, I came in a back way, and at that time we had TVs in our rooms where, like, the news was always on in the mornings. And so in one room, I saw teachers standing right in front of the TV watching silently. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm rushing to my room. I go by another room and I see a teacher crying. I was like, what's going on? Somebody came out and said there was a terrorist attack. I was like, oh my gosh. So I rush up to my room.
It was early in the morning?
Mm-hmm. And I get to my room, and then I had a suite mate, so we had a door between us, and it was always open, he and I came in, threw my stuff down, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? I'm, yelling through the door. He's like, there was a terrorist attack. And I'm like, where? And he's like, New York City, the Twin Towers. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? And I didn't have a first period. So I I went into his room. His kids were coming in. We see the tower on fire and fried mushroom.
That's gross.
And so kids are coming in. He's trying to explain to them in Spanish what's happening. I had 2 clubs that I sponsored. A future teacher group called TAFE, T-A-F-E, Texas Association of Future Educators. And I had a diversity club. So kids were coming in like, Miss, have you seen, have you heard what's happening? I'm like, yes. And now in the diversity club, I had a lot of Muslim students and Indian students who were Muslim. And I had a mixture. I had white kids, I had Hispanic kids, Asian, you name it. And so the kids are coming in, they're crying because already the Muslim kids were already being discriminated against right off the bat. Because everywhere in the news, they said it was the Muslims, it was the Taliban, it was Osama bin Laden, and so they were scared. And I said, look, call your parents right now, let them know you're fine, you're in my room. And they did. And so, I quickly called to the front office. I said, hey, some of my kids are already getting, people are discriminating against. People are already saying stuff to them. And they said, yeah, we've been getting phone calls. And,
Can you imagine those parents? Those parents. I guarantee those parents were scared.
They were so scared. Okay. That's a huge piece. I'm going to have to let that go for another time. So we ended up letting them stay in my class. And so that we all just went next door. Some of them felt okay to go back to their classes. Some stayed, some went home. Parents were already calling to come pick up their kids. And so while we're still just, this is all happening so fast. But then we're watching and we hear there's another plane. So everybody looks and we're watching. And I felt like our whole high school, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I felt like our whole high school was watching. And when that second plane hit, I feel like, 2,000 plus kids were watching it.
Well, I think everyone, the whole world was watching, weren't they? Pretty
much. But we, you could hear gasps and screams from kids and teachers, and then shortly thereafter, we got an all call that said we're on lockdown. And so we didn't know why we would be on lockdown when this is happening in New York. The internet wasn't as big as it is now. And so we were like, oh my gosh, something must be happening, but why here? I was living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Everybody was scared. We were all scared because we're, even he and I, the other teacher and I, we were like, why would they have us on lockdown? Well, come to find out that FEMA had a huge headquarters in our town. And so every government building and every school was on lockdown. I remember that instantly I wanted to just come and get you. Because, as a mom with a 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old, I was like, I just wanted her with me because I just wanted to know that she was safe, even though I knew she was safe. And so the lady that took care of Sierra, she had a daycare in her home. And I called her and I just started crying. And I was like, I know she's okay, but can I just hear her? And she said, yes, I understand. She started crying. She said, can you go find my daughter? Because her daughter went to school at my school. And I said, yes, I said, do you know what class she's in? And I'll call for her and I'll try to go get her or something because we're on lockdown. And so I remember my Muslim kids were just so scared. And on the news, you know, they were saying that this was Muslims. And so kids were saying, why are you doing this? Why are your people doing this? And they were like, I was born here, you know. Yeah. And they were trying to explain that that's not what Islam or being Muslim is about. And
the authentic and real Muslims. Yeah. That's not what they're about.
I immediately called my mom. And as soon as I heard her voice, we both just started crying because she was at work. And
she used to work for, didn't she used to work for government? Yeah. So they were probably on lockdown as well.
And she was like, where's Miha? And I said, well, she's at the daycare. I just talked to the daycare, you know, lady. And in my lifetime, no war seemed as real. You know, I had never experienced that kind of thing. I don't know, I guess because it happened on our, you know, we always heard about terrorism, but it never happened in the United States. It happened
on U.S. soil.
Right.
And that whole day was just, and then it hit the Pentagon.
Yes.
Both
and
towers, and then the other plane.
Yes.
So they hijacked total 4 planes. Think of all those lives that they took.
And all the people in the
tower. People at the Pentagon that died.
No, Sierra has said, like, she's really felt racism. And I have felt racism and a division of our country. And it's so blatant. But we have to remember after 9/11, when the country came together as a whole, we united as a country. We as Americans, we need to remember how the United States came together as one country to defeat terrorism, and how we had that pride, and how it didn't matter if you were black or white or Hispanic or immigrant or not. We all banded together. We donated. We raised monies. We helped. We everywhere. Police and firemen of all colors came together. People from everywhere helped. And that's what we need in our country, is to come together as one country. Come together like we did. I have never felt such patriotism like we had then. I was proud to be American. If we're going to make America great again, let's make it great like it was then. Like when we all came together as one solid country. We didn't care if you were born here or if you weren't born here. If you lived in the United States and you had our common good, then that was it. It didn't matter. Nothing else mattered. It was all of us trying to fight terrorism. And we came together as Americans, as people who lived in this country. I mean, everyone had a flag out. Not just people who were born here or who got a visa to come here, or if they, you know, had just gotten citizenship. Everybody was proud to say they lived in the United States, and together we were going to overcome terrorism. That's the kind of patriotism that we need in our country today. It doesn't matter what your party is, that in the soul of every person living in the United States would think back to how it was, or even if you weren't born back then. So like you were barely a year and a half. But if the rest of us could come together and show that kind of patriotism, regardless of what's the higher powers that are, regardless of that, and we voted someone who's gonna bring us back there again, then we can be the United States that makes everyone proud and that shows that kind of patriotism again. Because we cannot let terrorists come and step 1 foot, 1 inch on our country. What a disgrace to have terrorists step onto our country.
But
not that we disrespect what anyone else believes.
Don't.
Because
it's America.
Yeah, and hold on. Because I'm holding her hands down here. Everybody has an opinion, and we don't want to disrespect anyone's opinion. But as a Hispanic woman who has a child that is half Hispanic and half African American and half Native American, get back, Lucky. Who she is America. She's a melting pot.
I'm a buffet.
We want to share our perspective, and let me just say that
Don't cry.
I get afraid when she goes places where there's large crowds, especially if she wears her hair curly, different ways, because I'm afraid that she might be targeted. I was afraid. She wanted to go when Trump came to Houston. She wanted to go to the rally just to see what it was all about. Not that in support of Trump, but just to go and see. And I had to put my foot down and say, no, you can't go, because after seeing what happened to other students, I was too afraid to let her go. And even though she wouldn't speak up or say anything, I was afraid for my child's safety. What was on my heart is that 9/11 is today, y'all, and terrorism, whether foreign or domestic, is still happening, and it's real. And if we as a country, whether you were born here or not, if we don't come together with that same sense of patriotism that we had after 9/11, we will not be able to grow and become great again and create an environment where people in America, whether you were born here or not, feel safe. We do not need to go back to the civil rights movement.
No, we don't.
There were people who died so that we could have a channel on YouTube and talk about what we want to talk about.
So that I could have a Hispanic mom and an African American dad.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. People in 9/11 died. People who went to war against Osama bin Laden died for all the freedom and liberties that we have now. And America felt safe and more and secure, not right away, but we came together as people who united together in this country despite our color, our religion, our party, everything. Aside from all of that, we knew what was good and what was bad, and terrorism was bad. And we came together as people who live and share this country to fight the bad. Well, now we have bad foreign and domestic, and we as people who share this same ground, this great country of ours, have to come together to fight terrorism, to fight racism, to fight sexism, to fight anybody who is going to take our country
who causes
back.
harm to anybody.
Yes.
Period.
And we, as people who have voting power, need to ensure that whoever stands before our country stands and speaks for all of us and not one group in particular.
Yeah.
We have to be tolerant. That's what America was built on.
Yeah.
I mean, on the Statue of Liberty, it says, "Bring us your tired and weary." If we don't believe that as Americans, then let's just bulldoze the Statue of Liberty down. If we're not going to say, hey, come on, everybody, bring us your tired and weary. we're the country for you. Then let's just knock that Statue of Liberty down. We need to just make our country safe for everyone. For everyone. For my children, for her children, for everyone's children, whether you were born here or not. Our country needs to have the patriotism and the oneness, the unity, the solidarity that we once had after 9/11. That's it. And on that note, let's eat some of this cheesecake. Let's try this New York cheesecake. Here's to every...
You can't cry and
I
eat
know.
cheesecake.
Hold on. Okay. Cheers to all the men and women who died during 9/11, to all the soldiers who served, who died to protect our country after 9/11, and even still to help make and bring our country back to the great nation with full patriotism and be a united front for my child and my grandchildren and the future generations. Cheers. That's good.
I'm homemade.
Y'all, that's like the best cheesecake I've ever had.
If you're not a subscriber, I hope we did not scare you.
I hope we did not scare you
with this video.
This is not a normal topic.
This is
y'all.
not a normal topic, but it's something that needs to happen. If you're not a subscriber,
ooh, that's good.
Please hit the
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe to us.
I hope we didn't scare you.
I hope we didn't either. Subscribe and turn the notification bell so you can get alerts when we do amazing videos.
That's good.
And don't forget to give us a big thumbs up for Lucky.
Thumbs up for Lucky.
And don't forget to watch